Okay, so we now have that feature to add a nav menu, but we actually want to apply it to our header. So I'm going to go back to the header PHP, and we're going to create one. Now, literally, what I did is I just copied and pasted what we did in class from class 4. It's the same exact thing, but basically it's just going to go right inside of here. We're going to put that nav in here. So you could just copy and paste it if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in here. So it's just UL, and then we're going to give it an ID name equals quotes, and we'll just call it nav bar. These should probably be a little bit more unique, but they are what they are, so whatever. Man, why does it go all the way over there? It's super annoying. Gotta fix the way this thing auto formats. Okay. Oops, that's too far. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to do basically our list items. So list item, and then we're going to do class. Well, list item class. Okay, let's do it like this. So we'll do list item. I'm just going to show you how to do the thing. And then inside that list item, right, let's close it out too. List item. And then inside of it, right, we have an href equals quotes, hashtag, boom. We're just making a dummy one. And then we'll just say menu 01. And then we close that href, right? So it looks like that, right? So each one goes like that. So let's just go ahead and make a bunch of these just so we can see that it's working. So enter, Control V, enter, Control V, enter, Control V, enter, Control V. All right, so there's a bunch. Now, this will work in that it will make a menu, but it's not going to be responsive or anything like that. So we're going to add a little bit more code in here. For one, I'm going to make my menu button, which currently isn't in here. So instead of what we have here, I'm going to keep these ones. I'm going to take this one out and change it a little bit. So we're going to make list item, and I'm going to call it a class equals, and we're going to call it the nav. And then we're also going to add an ID equals quotes, and that's going to be menu btn. And then inside of that is going to be an href equals quotes. And then again, it's just going to be a dummy for now. We're eventually going to make these do things. Just for now, they don't do anything. And then we're going to say on click equals quotes open menu like that, and then we close that out. And then inside of it, in order to make it, whoa, what happened there? That was not what I thought I did. There we go. Inside of there, and we'll go ahead and close it too. LI, just so you can see it's closed. I'm going to put my little hamburger symbol, okay? So inside of here, I'm just going to go ahead and put a div that's going to hold it. So we'll just do a div, and I'm going to go ID equals quotes, and we'll just say hamburger, and we'll go ahead and close that div. Tab. And then inside of here is just going to be those P's. So P, and then dash P. And we're just going to do, I think it's 4 of them? 3 of them. Control C, Control V, Control V. And the whole point of this is that by having these here, it's just going to make a dash, just like you see the little hamburger menu that usually pops up in the top left. This is just meant to represent it. So this way I can format this little chunk. So this is really, it could be a graphic, it could be anything, but that's why we're putting that in there. And then this part up here, most of this is for formatting. This class is for formatting. This menu button, though, this is actually here because inside of that script, where are you at? The responsive script that I put in there, it's going to get an element by ID, and it's going to be the nav, okay? So that's why inside of here, oh, wait a minute. That's not right. Class. Let's see if that works. I don't think that's... Should be getting, oh, sorry, it's by class name, not by ID name. So it's going to get it by doing that. And that's how it's going to interact with the stuff. I thought it said it by ID, but it's by class name. My bad. Anyway, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. This code is basically controlling the formatting of these components in here. Okay, so this JavaScript that's going to apply here. And again, we covered it in the other class, so or in a previous class. So you should know how that works. All right. So now, if we were to save this, and let's refresh. All right. We should get a sort of nav menu here. And there you go. It looks like it's not being formatted correctly, so we just got to double check to see what's going on with that. All right. Yeah. So the reason why it's not working is just because let's refresh it. Oh, I actually put it. I fixed it, but basically it needs to have the nav, the formatting here. But we're going to change this anyway. So for now, this is fine. Just so you know that it is working, though. When I go to make this big or small, let's go like this. When we make it small, you're going to see the hamburger pops up, which is great. So it is somewhat working. You see the first menu item actually goes away like it should. The other parts are just not formatted yet, but they will be formatted in a second. We're actually going to write it a little bit differently, and I don't want to waste time putting in classes in here that we don't need. So this is fine, but what you do notice, if you saw up here, is that we have a static menu, right? These actually don't go anywhere. We made the menu, but it doesn't actually function. It's not using the menu I actually created inside of the WordPress earlier. So what we want to do is actually load that in. So it's actually pretty simple. We're going to leave this first list item, but to generate these other list items, we're actually going to use some PHP instead. So we're actually going to remove those. Okay, so we'll have one list item, and then the other ones will not be. And so what we're going to do inside of here is we're going to go into PHP mode. Oh, you know what else too? I actually miswrote this too. I just noticed this. So this should be /a, like that. Oops, back one. Because remember, we opened up the A here. I didn't close it. That might even cause some of the issues. Anyway, so yeah, make sure you put that in there too. My bad. All right. So yeah, we're gonna go into PHP mode. Doing PHP, and then sorry about that. We're gonna go into PHP mode. And then, yeah, let's go in here, tab it over, and then we're going to say WP underscore nav underscore menu. And then we're going to open up this, function, okay? So whenever we do something like this, so let's say we just go like this, we're calling a function, right? You can tell it's calling a function because we're sending it these arguments, although I know sometimes that isn't there. But you can also, I mean, right now, obviously, it's highlighting it. But we're calling this function, all right? Now, this function itself actually needs information. Some of the other ones don't. Like, we just call this and it just runs. Or even when we do, in the index, when I say, get header, it just runs to get the header. We don't have to send it, like, information beyond that. Some of them are not that way. In here, when we run a nav menu, like I said, we can have multiple ones. So it needs to know what nav menu you need, how you want it displayed, if you want anything else applied to it. Now you can look this up. So if I go ahead and if I were to look this up, just so you get the idea here, it's always good to, if I were to research, search for this, right? So come on. If I were to search for this, I would get some Google results, right? And I usually like to use the developer WordPress thing here. And if we go here, it'll actually tell you things about it. So it has it's looking for an array, okay? And then you could tell it the menu, the desired menu that you want to use. So if you remember before, we gave it that name, the menu class. So if you want to add a class for it, you can add a class. You can also add an ID on top of it, the container, if you want to wrap it inside of something. There's all these different options here. We can add some string before each line or after. A lot of them have that, actually. Echo just means it's going to write something. How many levels in the hierarchy are to be included? So that is fine. Yeah, so that's basically it. Theme location, we're going to use that one too. All right, anyway, so just be aware, you can look those up that way. But this is actually going to require an array. So unlike normally where we send it like one thing, where I'll just, I don't know, send it like, header or something, right? Like we send it one thing. This actually is an array. All an array is, it's a list of values. Oftentimes, and as such is in this case, it'll be kind of like, it'll be two values. It'll be a property and a value. So basically, we're going to give it a list of variables, okay? And then we're going to tell them what we want. So we have to write array, and then we have to put stuff in this array. Now, for the purposes of making this a little bit easier to read so it doesn't go all the way across, let me drag this to the left here. I'm actually going to hit enter like that. And we're actually going to write the array right inside here. But just be aware that it's actually technically one long line. It's just so that it's a little bit easier to format, okay? So we're going to give it some information. So first thing we want to do is we want to give it a theme underscore location. And then we're going to go ahead and go boink, doink. I know it's a weird way, but this is how you put information into it. It's just a different way of assignment, I guess. And then we're going to say header menu location, okay? So if you remember, where is it? Here. We made that when we created this. We said remember that's the tag that we're going to be able to control with it, and it's going to be our header menu. This is what the person sees. This is what the code sees. All right, so header menu location. Then I got to do a comma, and then we'll do the next line, okay? But again, these are actually all in line. It's just, we're just doing it like that. Then we're going to give it a depth. And we're just going to make it, oops, not like that. We're just going to make it one deep. And that just means that it's not going to have like submenus in there, because I don't really feel like dealing with that. Comma. And then the menu, oops, boink, menu underscore class. And this is just, I keep hitting the whatchamacallit there. And then we'll just do the nav. This is literally just going to add classes. Oh, sorry, not that. Add classes to our, it's going to add the nav class to each one of them. So see how I have this class, the nav? This means that, because what this is going to do is it's actually going to print all of the items for us. And each item's going to have the nav. So just like how this class, I put the nav on them, when it writes out my other list items, they're all going to be called the nav. So if you wanted to format them another way and you want to apply another thing, you would actually just hit space and type in another one, and then space and type in another one. Or you can just have one. But that's what this is for. It's just going to add that class name for us. Okay? Good. So we go into there, PHP. It's going to write this out. Then we just need to go out of PHP mode. So boom, boom. And let's just go like that. We'll save it. And let's hit this and refresh. And boom, there we go. We only have 2 pages. But again, if I were to take this and if I collapse it, you're going to see it goes into this. And if you click on it, it goes below. So we actually have a responsive menu. Now it's very ugly, but that's going to be up to you later on to format this in a nicer way. Right now it just has these generic colors, and you can go through and apply that and what have you. Okay, but we're just trying to get it to function. Okay, so now if you look, we have our menu, and because it's handmade, we didn't use anything. It's all our own code. We have complete control. We can write it any kind of way we want. All right, good.